Speak English naturally. The power of word pairs. Introduction. Imagine speaking English so well that your words come out easily and everyone understands you. You feel sure of yourself, not afraid of making errors. Your English sounds just like someone who has lived in an English-speaking place for a very long time. This is what many English learners wish for. But sometimes, even if you know grammar rules and many words, it feels hard to get there. You might know each word, but putting them together so they sound correct can be tricky. It's like having all the food items for a tasty meal, but not knowing how to mix them just right. This book will help you close that space. We will show you the simple way to sound more natural. The secret is not just knowing many words, it's knowing which words like to be together. In English, some words just naturally go together. Think of them as good friends or puzzle pieces that fit perfectly. These common word groups are called collocations. Simply put, collocations are words that are often used together in a language. They are word pairs that sound right to people who speak English as their first language. For example, if you want to talk about coffee that tastes strong, you know the word strong in coffee. You might think powerful coffee sounds okay because powerful means strong. But in English, native speakers almost always say strong coffee. It just sounds more natural. We also say make a mistake, not do a mistake. And we talk about heavy rain, not big rain. Learning these common word groups, these collocations, is like learning the hidden way to speak natural English. Why is this so important? Because learning collocations well is a big step to sounding truly fluent. You can know all the grammar rules and have a large word list, but if you don't use words in their natural groups, your English might still sound a little stiff or not quite right. Collocations are like the glue that makes sentences flow smoothly. When you use them correctly, your speaking becomes smoother because the words just come to you. It also makes what you mean clearer. Native speakers use collocations so much, they don't even think about them. It happens automatically. This book will help you see these hidden patterns and learn to use them. In this book, we will look at many of these common and useful word groups. We will look at simple examples that will make learning easy. You will see how using the right word groups can instantly make your English sound more like a native speaker's. We will give clear explanations and many examples to help you understand and remember. Our aim is to give you the tools to speak and write English with more confidence and a smooth flow. Get ready to discover the power of word groups and change your English. 1. Why word pairs matter. Sometimes, when we learn a new language, it feels like we know all the words. We know coffee and strong. So, we might think we can say strong coffee, and this often works. But then, we hear people who speak English all the time say strong coffee, and it sounds just right. Then, maybe we try to say powerful coffee because powerful also means very strong, right? But when we say powerful coffee, it sounds a little odd. It's not wrong in a way that breaks the rules, but it just doesn't sound like something a native English speaker would usually say. It's like trying to fit a square block into a round hole. It might go in, but it doesn't feel smooth or easy. This is where the real magic of speaking English easily begins. It's not just about knowing single words, but about understanding how words like to stick together in common pairs. These pairs are called collocations. Think of them as best friends in the language. They just sound right when they are together. For example, in English, people say strong coffee, not powerful coffee. Learning these common word pairs helps people speak and write English in a way that sounds natural and smooth. It is a main part of sounding like a native speaker. This feeling that certain word groups just sound right to a native speaker is very important. It's not something we often learn from grammar books. Grammar books teach us the rules for building sentences, how to put subjects and verbs together, how to make questions. And those rules are very important. But they don't always tell us which specific words naturally go with other words. Native speakers don't sit and think, okay, I need to talk about coffee. What verb goes with coffee? Make. And what adjective? No, they usually just say strong coffee without even thinking about it. It just comes out. This natural ability comes from years of hearing and using these word pairs. It's like a quick mental path. When a native speaker wants to talk about coffee, their brain quickly brings up strong coffee because it's a common, friendly pair. It's a phrase they've heard and used many, many times. They don't have to build it from nothing every time. This is why strong coffee feels right and powerful coffee feels a bit wrong. Powerful is a great word, and it means very strong, but it's usually used for things with more force or energy, like a powerful engine or a powerful speech. It's not the usual partner for coffee. So, how does relying on single words, instead of common word pairs, make it hard to sound natural and fluent? In English? Well, when you only focus on single words, you have to build every single phrase from the beginning. Imagine you want to say you made a mistake. You know the word make and you know the word mistake. So, you might try to say make mistake. And while people might understand you, it doesn't sound quite right. The natural, smooth way to say it in English is make a mistake. That make a mistake is a collocation, a word pair that just belongs together. If you are always trying to guess which words go with which, or if you are always translating directly from your own language, your speech can become slow and broken. You might stop a lot looking for the right word or the right combination. This can make you feel less sure of yourself. It can also make it harder for the person you are talking to understand you clearly. They might have to work harder to figure out what you mean, especially if your word choices are unusual. Learning these word pairs, these collocations, is like getting a set of ready-made building blocks for your sentences. Instead of picking up single bricks and trying to figure out how they fit, you can pick up a part of a wall that is already built. This makes talking much faster and smoother. Think about it. When you want to say you are going to stop for a while, you don't say I will do a pause. You say I will take a break. Take a break is a common and natural word pair. It's a phrase that native speakers use all the time. Because it's so common, it comes to mind quickly. You don't have to think about the single words take, a, and break. Your brain just offers you the whole phrase. This speed and smoothness are needed for fluency. Fluency isn't just about speaking fast. It's about speaking with ease and without stopping all the time. When you use collocations, your sentences flow better. They sound more natural because they match the ways that native speakers are used to hearing. This makes your communication clearer and more effective. It's like driving a car on a smooth, well-made road instead of a bumpy, dirt track. Both get you to your destination, but one is a much more pleasant and faster trip. Besides just sounding natural, using the correct word pairs is also very important for avoiding confusion and awkwardness. Sometimes, using the wrong word combination can change the meaning of what you want to say, or it can make your sentence sound very strange, even if the single words are correct. For example, if you want to say that you are going to do something important, you might say I will do an important task. That makes sense, but the more natural and common word pair is I will perform an important task or I will carry out an important task. Using do with task isn't truly wrong, but it's not the most natural fit, and it can make your sentence sound a little awkward. Consider the difference between making a decision and doing a decision. Making a decision is a very common word pair. It sounds right. But doing a decision sounds very strange. The listener might stop, wondering what you mean. Are you doing the action of deciding? It's confusing. The wrong word pair can make the listener pause and try to understand what you meant. This can be frustrating for both the speaker and the listener. It can make you feel less confident because you worry that you're not being understood or that you're sounding awkward. This is why actively learning collocations is so helpful. What are the real good things a learner gets by actively studying and using collocations? First, there's the increase in confidence. When you start using word pairs that sound natural, you'll notice that people understand you more easily and they react more positively. This good feeling encourages you to speak more. Second, there's the increase in speed and fluency. With more collocations in your memory, you'll find yourself speaking more smoothly and with fewer stops. Your thoughts will turn into speech more easily. Third, there's better clarity. Using the right word pairs means your message is less likely to be misunderstood. You'll be sharing your intended meaning more accurately. In short, collocations are the secret ingredient of natural English speech. They are the hidden threads that tie single words together to create sentences that sound smooth, like a native speaker, and real. They are what make the difference between speaking English correctly and speaking English naturally. Think of beautiful music. It's not just a bunch of single notes. It's the way those notes are put together, the rhythm, the tune, the patterns. Collocations are like the tune patterns of English. They give the language its special sound and flow. When you learn and use these common word pairs, you start to sound less like a textbook and more like someone who has grown up speaking the language. You begin to understand the small differences that make English feel alive and natural. It's about going from just being understood to truly connecting with others through language that feels easy and real. It's about sounding like you belong in the conversation, not like you're just visiting. So, the next time you hear a phrase that sounds especially smooth or natural, pay attention. It's likely you're hearing a collocation. These word pairs are everywhere, in every talk, every article, every song. They are the building blocks of natural talking. They are the key to unlocking that easy, confident way of speaking that many English learners want. Now that we understand why these word pairs are so important for sounding natural, the next step is to look at what these common word pairs actually are and how we can start to find and learn them well. We'll start by looking at the most common types and how they're used in everyday talking. 2. Sounding like a native. Have you ever heard someone speak English and thought, wow, they sound so natural, like they were born speaking it? It's not just about knowing the grammar rules, though that's very important. It's something more, a smooth flow, a rhythm that feels just right. It's like music. You can learn all the musical notes and chords, but it's how you put them together that makes a song beautiful and easy to listen to. For English learners, this beautiful, easy sound often comes from something called collocations. Think about the word coffee. You know what it means, but do you know what kind of coffee people usually talk about? Most of the time, they say strong coffee. You might wonder, why not powerful coffee? Powerful sounds like a strong word, doesn't it? But in English, powerful coffee sounds a little strange, not quite right. People who speak English as their first language don't even think about it. They just say strong coffee. It's like a habit they have. This pairing, strong coffee, is a collocation. It's a pair of words that just naturally go together. This is the special trick, the magic ingredient that helps you go from speaking English that is grammatically correct to speaking English that sounds truly natural, like someone who grew up speaking it. It's not about learning words one by one, like building with single bricks. It's about learning how those bricks fit together perfectly to build a strong, beautiful wall. Collocations are those perfectly fitting bricks. They are the word pairs that native speakers use all the time without even noticing. They are the common combinations that make sentences sound smooth, correct, and familiar. When you start using these common word pairs, something wonderful happens. Your sentences start to flow better. You don't pause as much because you're not trying to figure out the best word to use every single moment. Instead, you reach for the word pair that feels right, the one you've heard and learned. This makes your speaking much smoother. Imagine you want to describe a very difficult task. You could say, "This is a very hard job." And that's correct. But a native speaker might say, "This is a difficult job." Or even better, they might say, "This is a tough job." The word tough just fits so well with job in this situation. It's a collocation. Tough job. It sounds more natural, more common. This improvement in how smoothly you speak has a big effect on your confidence. When you speak, and the words come out sounding natural, you feel better about yourself. You don't worry as much about making mistakes. You can focus more on sharing your ideas and connecting with people, instead of worrying if your English sounds strange. It's like finally being able to drive a car smoothly after a lot of practice. At first, you might drive in a jerky, unsure way, but with practice and understanding how the car works, you glide along. Using collocations is like learning the smooth way to drive your English. Let me tell you about my friend Maria. Maria came to study English in a new country. She was a very smart student. She knew all the grammar rules. She could put verbs in the right form, use prepositions correctly, and build complicated sentences. When she spoke, her sentences were grammatically perfect, but they sounded a little stiff, a bit like she was reading from a book. For example, if she wanted to say she was very happy about something, she might say, "I am very glad about the news." And again, this is correct, but it didn't have that natural sparkle. Native speakers might say, "I'm thrilled about the news," or "I'm overjoyed about the news." Or if they were a bit more casual, they might say, "I'm so happy about the news." The words "so" and "happy" together, "so happy," is a very common collocation. It just sounds more natural than just very happy in many situations. Maria noticed this. She felt like her English was correct, but it wasn't alive. She felt a little shy to speak sometimes because she worried her words wouldn't sound right. She told me, "I understand the words, I understand the grammar, but when I open my mouth, it feels like I'm building a sentence with separate pieces, not like it's flowing." One day, we were talking about making a choice. I might have said, "It's a big decision." Maria, following the rules, might have said, "It is a large decision." Both can be understood, but big decision is the common, natural pairing. Large decision sounds a little formal or even a bit unusual. It's like saying big house instead of large house. Both are fine, but big house is more common in everyday talk. When Maria started learning about collocations, it was like a light bulb turned on. She began to notice these word pairs everywhere. She started paying attention not just to individual words, but to the words that often came before or after them. She learned that people don't just make a mistake, they make a mistake. They don't just do a favor, they do a favor. They don't just take a photo, they take a photo. She started making lists of these common word pairs. She would write down things like, make a mistake, do a favor. Take a photo, have a shower. Pay attention, get married. Strong coffee, difficult job. Big decision. When she started using these in her own sentences, her speaking changed. It became smoother, more confident. She wasn't pausing as much to think. She wasn't doubting herself. She was reaching for the natural pairings. She told me, "Now, when I speak, it feels like the words are already friends. They want to be together. I don't have to force them." This is the power of collocations. They are the invisible threads that weave English sentences together to make them sound like they were made by a native speaker. They are the patterns that native speakers learn from birth and that we, as learners, can actively study and practice. They are the key to unlocking that natural, easy sound that makes communication so much more enjoyable and effective. So, what exactly makes a collocation sound right to a native speaker? It's a mix of history, common use, and how the language has changed over time. Think about strong coffee again. Why not powerful coffee? Powerful often describes things with great force, like a powerful engine or a powerful leader. Coffee, while it can wake you up, isn't usually described with that kind of active force. Strong in strong coffee describes how intense the flavor is or how much caffeine it has. It's the word that has become the natural partner for coffee in this way. It's not a rule written in a grammar book. It's a pattern that has become so common that it sounds normal. When you learn a new word, it's good to learn more than just its meaning. Try to learn it with one or two words it often goes with. For example, if you learn the word opportunity, don't just remember what it means. Remember that people often seize an opportunity or miss an opportunity. These are collocations: seize an opportunity and miss an opportunity. They show you how the word is used in real sentences. This focus on word pairs helps you understand the small differences between similar words. For instance, you might know say and tell. You know they both involve speaking, but when do you use which? You say something, but you tell someone something. So say hello is common, but tell hello isn't. And you tell a story, but you don't usually say a story. The words tell and story are a natural pair. The effect of using correct collocations goes beyond just sounding good. It actually makes your English clearer. When you use the right word pair, your meaning is more exact. If you say you have a serious problem, it means something quite different from a major problem or a big problem. These are all collocations, and each one carries a slightly different shade of meaning. Understanding and using them correctly helps you express yourself with more accuracy and detail. Consider the difference between make a decision and take a decision. Both might be understood, but make a decision is the usual, natural collocation in English. If you say take a decision, it might sound a little unusual to a native speaker, perhaps like it was translated directly from another language. The same goes for have a look versus take a look. Both are used, but have a look is very common and natural. This is why learning collocations is so important for learners. It's not just about adding new words to your vocabulary. It's about learning how those words work together in the real world. It's about learning the natural rhythm and flow of the language. It's about building a feeling for what sounds right. When you start actively looking for collocations, you'll begin to see them everywhere. In books, in movies, in conversations. You'll start to notice that certain verbs often go with certain nouns, or certain adjectives often go with certain nouns. This isn't by chance. It's the predictable, natural way English speakers put words together. For example, think about the word chance. You can take a chance. You can get a chance. You can miss a chance. You can have a slim chance or a good chance. These are all collocations. If you just learned the word chance and tried to use it in a sentence without knowing these pairings, you might say something like, I will do it, I will make a chance. That sounds very strange. The correct collocation is take a chance. The beauty of learning collocations is that it makes things simpler in a way. Instead of trying to remember an endless list of individual words and how to use them in every possible situation, you start learning these common, reliable pairings. It's like learning a few basic recipes. Once you know how to make a simple sauce, you can use it in many different dishes. Collocations are like those basic, essential recipes for English. When Maria started focusing on collocations, she noticed her speaking became more efficient. She didn't have to search for the right verb or adjective as much. The common pairings came to her more easily. This saved her mental energy, allowing her to think more about the message she wanted to convey. It also made her listening comprehension better because she was more familiar with the natural phrases native speakers used. So, what is this native sound we are all trying to achieve? It's the sound of words fitting together perfectly, like puzzle pieces. It's the sound of predictability and naturalness. It's the sound of strong coffee, big decision, make a mistake, and pay attention. It's the sound of collocations. By actively learning and using these common word pairs, you are not just learning English, you are learning to speak English the way it is naturally spoken. You are building the foundation for fluency, confidence, and a truly authentic voice. Now that we understand why sounding like a native speaker depends on mastering these word pairings, the next important step is to discover how to effectively find and learn these essential collocations. 3. Common word pairs. Sometimes, when we learn a new language, we think we can just put all the words we know together to make sentences. That's a good start. But to sound like you really belong, like you speak English easily, there's a small secret. It's about how words like to be with each other. Think of words as having best friends. They sound best, most natural, when they are with their usual friends. Let me tell you about my friend, Maria. Maria came to live in an English-speaking country a few years ago. She was very smart and worked very hard. She knew so many words. She could read books and understand most of what people said. But when she spoke, sometimes it felt a little not quite right. Not wrong exactly, but like she was trying to build a house with bricks that didn't fit together perfectly. One day, we were at a cafe, and Maria wanted to tell me she had a problem. She looked at me, a little worried, and said, "I have a big problem." That makes sense, right? Big and problem are words we know. But someone who speaks English all the time would almost always say, "I have a big problem." Or even more often, "I have a serious problem." Maria's sentence was okay for grammar, but it didn't sound smooth. It was like she was trying to use a hammer to screw in a nail. Later, she wanted to talk about her work. She said, "I need to do a report." Again, we understand what she means. But the usual, natural way to say it is make a report. It's not do a report. It's make a report. It sounds a little strange at first, doesn't it? Do a report feels a bit awkward. Make a report just flows nicely. This is the main idea. Words that often go together. In English and in many languages, certain words just naturally pair up. They are like a team. They are words that are often seen next to each other. We call these pairs collocations. Think of it like this. When you meet someone new, you might shake their hand. You don't hold their hand, or grab their hand, or touch their hand when you first meet them. You shake their hand. Shake hands is a common word pair, a collocation. It's the normal, expected way to say that action. These word pairs aren't about strict grammar rules, like a verb must come after a noun. They are more like habits of the language. Native speakers use them all the time without thinking. They just sound right. When you use these common word pairs, your English sounds smooth, confident, and natural. It's like you found a secret code that makes you sound like you grew up speaking English. Let's look at another example. Imagine you're drinking coffee. You might want to describe it. You could say it's powerful coffee. You might think powerful means strong, so it makes sense. But if you said powerful coffee to a native English speaker, they might pause for a moment. They might understand you, but it would sound a bit unusual. The word that almost always goes with coffee to mean very strong is strong. So, you would say strong coffee. Strong coffee is the natural, common word pair. Powerful coffee sounds a little strange, like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Why is this so important? Because it's not just about being understood. It's about talking clearly and well, in a way that feels comfortable and familiar to the person listening. When you use collocations, you are speaking the language the way it is meant to be spoken, the way it flows. What happens if you don't use these common word pairs? What if you keep saying powerful coffee or do a report? Well, people will probably still understand you. They are usually smart enough to figure out what you mean. But it can make your speech sound a little stiff, a little unnatural. It might make you sound like you are translating directly from your own language or like you are reading from a dictionary without knowing how the words are used in real life. Think about the word rain. We have many words to describe how much it is raining. We don't say big rain or strong rain. We say heavy rain. If it's raining very, very hard, we might say pouring rain. Or if it's raining a lot for a long time, we might say driving rain. Each of these pairs, heavy rain, pouring rain, driving rain, creates a slightly different picture, and they are the natural, common ways to describe rain. Sometimes, the meaning of a collocation is more than just the meaning of the words separately. It creates a new, specific idea. Take the word sleep. We can say someone is in deep sleep. This doesn't mean the sleep is physically deep, like the ocean. It means the person is sleeping very soundly, very peacefully, and is hard to wake up. Deep sleep is a common word pair that means something very specific. You wouldn't say profound sleep or intense sleep. Deep sleep is the natural choice. Learning these common word pairs is like learning the secret handshake of English. It's a skill you build over time. It's not something you can always guess. For example, if you want to say you were taking a short rest from work, you would say take a break. You wouldn't say make a break or do a break. Take a break is the natural, common collocation. Here are some other examples of common word pairs that you will hear and use all the time. Instead of quick lunch, we say fast food. Instead of make a question, we say ask a question. Instead of make a promise, we say keep a promise or break a promise. Instead of strong tea, we say hot tea or cold tea. We use strong for coffee more often. Instead of make a decision, we say make a decision. This one is a bit tricky as make is used here, but it's specific to decision. Instead of big mistake, we say make a mistake. Again, make is the partner for mistake. Instead of strong weather, we say severe weather or extreme weather. You see, words have their favorite partners. And when you learn these partnerships, your English starts to sound more like the English you hear on TV, in movies, or from native speakers. It's a huge step towards sounding natural. Think about how you learned your first language as a child. You didn't sit down with grammar books. You heard words used in certain ways, over and over again. You learned that when someone wanted to eat, they said I want food, not I desire sustenance. You learned that when you were happy, you said I am happy, not I am filled with joy. You absorbed these patterns, these common word pairs, naturally. As an English learner, you can do the same. You just need to become aware of these common word pairs. You need to start noticing them when you read and listen, and then you need to practice using them. The practical results of not using common word pairs can range from sounding a little awkward to causing confusion. If you say, I want to do a car, instead of I want to buy a car, people will understand. You probably want to buy a car, but do a car is very strange. Or if you say, I have much money, when you mean a lot of money, it's grammatically wrong. The correct collocation is a lot of money. It's not about being perfect right away. It's about making progress. Every time you learn a new common word pair, you are adding another tool to your speaking toolbox. You are making your English smoother, more fluent, and more natural. So the next time you learn a new word, don't just learn its meaning. Try to learn the words that often go with it. Look for these word pairs. They are the glue that holds sentences together in a way that sounds truly natural. Now that we understand what common word pairs are and why they are so important for sounding natural, the next important step is to explore how we can find and learn these essential combinations. Let's move on to discover practical ways for building your own strong collection of word pairs. 4. Practice makes perfect. Learning a new language is like learning to play music. You can know the notes and how to hold the instrument, but until you play it, it's just theory. English is similar. Knowing words is good, but knowing which words go together, called collocations, and using them is what makes your speech sound natural. For example, you don't say your eyes are powerful. You say they are bright. You don't make sadness. You feel sad. These natural word pairings are collocations. Native speakers use them without thinking, but they can be tricky for learners. So, just knowing what collocations are isn't enough. You need to practice them until they feel easy, like breathing. The saying practice makes perfect is very true for English collocations. It's not just about memorizing. It's about repeating, using them, and letting them become part of how you think and speak. Imagine learning to ride a bike. You can read about it, but you only learn by doing it even if you wobble or fall. Each time you ride, you get better. Collocations are the same. The more you use them, the more natural they feel. A big challenge for learners is the difference between knowing a collocation and using it. You might read that people make a decision, not do a decision. You understand this. But in a conversation, you might forget or say do a decision and feel a bit shy. This is normal. The goal isn't to never make mistakes, but to learn from them and practice until the right words come to you automatically. This is the difference between learning without doing and learning by doing. Reading a recipe is like learning without doing. You know how to make a cake. Actually, baking the cake is learning by doing. For collocations, reading lists is learning without doing. Using them in sentences and speaking them aloud is learning by doing. So, how can you move from knowing to using? There are many fun ways to practice. One of the best is to listen more. When you watch movies or listen to people talk, pay close attention to the word pairs they use. Listen to the words, not just the story. When you hear someone say they will take a break, notice they don't say make a break. They say take a break. Try saying take a break yourself. Then, try using it in a sentence. I'm tired. I'll take a break. The more you hear and say it, the more you'll remember it. This trains your ears and your mouth at the same time. Speaking practice is also very helpful. You can describe a picture using collocations. For instance, if someone looks happy, you might say, "The woman has a big smile on her face," or "She looks very happy indeed." You could also try to tell a short story in your own words. As you speak, try to use the collocations you were learning. It might feel a little strange at first, but that's your brain making new connections. You can even record yourself speaking and listen back. Did you use the collocations well? Did any sound a little odd? Thinking about your own speaking is a very important part of practicing. Writing is another great way to practice. When you write an email, a diary, or a story, try to include some collocations. For example, if you were learning about weather words, you might write, "The weather was terrible yesterday. It rained heavily all day." Then, read what you wrote. Does it sound natural? Could you have used a better word pair? Instead of "it rained a lot," you could say "it rained heavily." Instead of "the weather was very bad," you could say "the weather was terrible." Thinking about this while you write helps you remember collocations. There are also helpful tools available. Many dictionaries now show you which words often go together. There are apps and websites made just for practicing collocations. These can help you find new word pairs and test yourself. But remember, these tools are guides. They help you know what to practice, but you still have to do the practicing yourself. Now let's talk about mistakes. It's easy to feel bad when you make a mistake. You might say make a photo instead of take a photo, or strong rain instead of heavy rain. This can feel embarrassing, especially with native speakers. But here's a secret. Mistakes are not your enemies. They are your best teachers. Every time you use a collocation wrong and someone corrects you, or you realize it yourself later, you learn something important. You learn that make a photo doesn't sound right. You learn that strong rain is not what people say. The best way to deal with mistakes is to be curious, not ashamed. Instead of thinking, "Oh no, I said it wrong," try thinking, "Why did that sound wrong? What is the right way to say it?" Looking closely at your own errors helps you understand why a collocation is used, not just what it is. It's like being a detective. Each mistake then becomes a step forward. It's also important to remember that learning collocations is a journey, not a race. Trying to learn too many at once can be overwhelming. It's better to focus on a few common ones at a time. Maybe start with collocations for everyday things, like making breakfast or talking about the weather. Once you know those well, you can learn more. For example, let's say you want to learn collocations for making plans. You could learn: make plans, not do plans; arrange a meeting, not make a meeting; set a date, not make a date; confirm your booking, not agree your booking. Then, try to use these in your speaking and writing for a week or two. Say things like, "Let's make plans for the weekend," or "I need to arrange a meeting with my boss." Notice when others use them. After you feel comfortable with these, you can learn another group. This slow and steady way of learning makes it easier and builds your confidence. A common problem for learners is thinking too much. They worry so much about using the perfect collocation that they become afraid to speak. They freeze, trying to remember the right words, and the chance to speak passes. The fear of making a mistake can stop you. To get past this, remember that native speakers also make mistakes. And often, even if you use a slightly less common word pair, people will still understand you. The main goal is to communicate. The perfect collocation will come with practice. Another problem is only learning without doing. You might read an article about collocations and feel like you understand it, then stop. But if you don't actively try to use those collocations, you will probably forget them. It's like reading about swimming but never getting in the water. You need to jump in. How can you track your progress? Recording yourself speaking is a great way. As I said before, speaking into your phone or computer and listening back can show you a lot. You can see which collocations you used correctly and which ones were difficult. You can also ask friends, language partners, or teachers for help. Tell them you are working on collocations and ask them to gently point out when you use them well or when you could improve. Looking back at your writing is also very important. After you write something, read it again, specifically looking for collocations. Did you use the word pairs you wanted to? Are there places where a different, more natural word pair could have been used? Keeping a small notebook or a digital file where you write down collocations you want to practice, and then noting examples of you using them correctly can show you how much you've improved. Seeing that list grow with your own examples is very encouraging. In the end, speaking English naturally comes from practicing regularly and actively. It's about doing it over and over, learning from every mistake, and celebrating every small success. By making collocations a regular part of your learning, you're not just learning words, you're learning the rhythm, the flow, and the true heart of natural English. By actively using these practice methods, you'll find that collocations start to feel less like rules and more like a natural part of your English. The next step is to see how these word pairs can make your communication not just correct, but also powerful and convincing. Conclusion: when you first started, you might have felt that some English phrases sounded a little strange, even if you knew all the words. This is normal for many who learn English. You learn many words, but putting them together well can be hard, like building a nice house with only loose bricks. When you change words directly from your own language, the sentences can sound odd, like a puzzle with missing parts. This is where word pairs become important, and it's the main idea we've looked at. We learn that English is not just a list of words. It's a group of words that sound good together. These good pairings are called collocations, words that like to be together, forming natural word teams. When you learn and use these common word teams, you are not just learning more words, you are learning how to speak naturally. Think about it. We say strong coffee, not powerful coffee. We make a decision, not do a decision. These word teams just sound right to people who speak English all the time because they are the usual, natural ways to say things. Learning these collocations well is the key to going from just knowing English to sounding like a native speaker. It makes you speak more smoothly, write more clearly, and communicate much better. We looked at how verbs go with nouns, how some words naturally describe other words, and how other words can make verbs sound better, all by looking at collocations. Now, with this knowledge, you can make your English sound more natural. This book is a start, a guide to help you see the world of word teams. The learning doesn't stop here, it really begins. Keep listening closely to English, in movies, radio shows, and talks. Pay attention to the word friends that native speakers use. Read a lot, and look especially for the collocations you see. Don't be afraid to try using these new word teams when you speak and write. Keeping a notebook of the collocations you learn is a great way to remember and practice them. Think of it like learning to cook. You don't just learn about single foods, you learn how they mix to make tasty meals. Collocations are the ways to make English sound natural. As you keep practicing and find more collocations, you will see a real change. You will feel more sure of yourself. Your talks will go more easily, and people will understand you better. You will start to feel more comfortable with the English language. The world of collocations is big and helpful. Use it, practice it, and see your English change. The path to speaking English naturally has just started, and with the help of word teams, you are on your way to mastering it. Happy talking, and may your words always find their best partners.